Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to my counseling corner. How are you doing today? Hopefully well. Today, I'm going to focus in lower grades on career paths. Before we finished with school and started our at-home learning, in many of our lower grades, we were working on understanding the 6 career paths. So I'm going to simplify the language and help you understand that we have our 6 career paths so that we can organize our world of work in the world. And the 6 career paths are RED, standing for health services, all the people in our world who take care of our health, like doctors, nurses, dentists, ophthalmologists, optometrists, people like that who care for our physical health and needs. Then we have orange. Orange is the fixing and building pathway. If you like taking things apart and putting them back together again, you might really like the fixing and building pathway. They also like to design things. Then our human services pathway. That's our helping persons pathway. These people are friendly and helpful, like police officers, firefighters, teachers, people who work in restaurants and hotels, beauticians. They want to help you and provide a service. Then we have the nature pathway. Maybe you want to be a scientist when you grow up and you wonder about how the world works and you have a lot of curious questions about the world and plants, animals, things like that. Well, that's our nature pathway. Then our business management and technology pathway is blue. And those people like to be leaders, they like to organize things, they sometimes manage money, and they contain people who own their own businesses, like entrepreneurs. Then we have our creative persons pathway. Do you like performing? Do you like writing? Do you like creating artwork? If so, maybe purple, the creative pathways for you. Okay? So to go along with all of this today, I've got a special book I want to read. It's really fun. It's one of my favorite. It's really humorous. Ha 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 ha, funny. Dr. Ted. Dr. Ted wants to help people who are sick, or help people who are hurt. And let's learn about how he became Dr. Ted. Dr. Ted is by Andrea Beatty and Pascal Lemaitre. I'm not sure how to say his last name. It's tricky. One morning, Ted woke up, got out of bed, and bumped his knee. Ow! That's not good, thought Ted. I need a doctor. I wonder if you've ever bumped your knee by tripping over something in your room. He looked everywhere. Do you think he'll find a doctor under his bed? Do you think he'll find a doctor in his closet? Do you think he'll really find a doctor in his drawer? Ooh, how about outside? But he couldn't find one. And since Ted could not find a doctor, dun 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 dun, he became a doctor. Dr. Ted didn't have an office, so he made one. Dr. Ted didn't have a big bandage, so he made one of those too. Now all I need is a patient, he thought. He sat and waited for one to arrive. He waited and waited and he waited. Nice waiting room, thought Dr. Ted. Then he waited some more. Wow, he's really patient, boys and girls. I think it's time for a house call, he thought. Hello, he called throughout the house. His mother was in the kitchen. You have measles, said Dr. Ted. We should operate. Oh, those are my freckles, said his mother. Eat your breakfast. His mom was having none of it. At school, Dr. Ted sat in the 3rd row of Mrs. Johnson's class, and all around him students coughed and sniffed and sneezed. Dr. Ted smiled. Ooh, patience, he thought. The patients were very germy. At lunch, Dr. Ted took their temperatures and measured their blood pressure. He gave them fine medical advice. And they were very thankful. Look how thankful they are. Dr. Ted was such a good doctor that even Mrs. Johnson came to see him. "You can't practice medicine in the lunchroom," she said. "You have mumps," said Dr. Ted. "Crutches could help." "Those are my cheeks," said Mrs. Johnson. "Eat your lunch." Boys and girls, you may not know this, but when people get mumps, they get very swollen cheeks. And of course, cows already have big cheeks, don't they? Oh, his classmates look a little bit uncomfortable about the situation. Principal Bigham walked in. Dr. Ted could tell he was very sick. He needed a doctor. "Well, we already have a school doctor who visits on Fridays," Principal Bigham said with a smile. "Well, you have gingivitis," said Dr. Ted. "You need a full body cast." Principal Bigham frowned. Boys and girls, gingivitis is kind of like an infection inside of your gums, and your dentist is actually the person who helps you with that, probably. And you don't cure it with a full body cast, right? "You also have bad breath," said Dr. Ted. "You need a shot." Oh, boys and girls, I don't think the principal's going to like a shot up his nose. I don't know that a shot up his nose is going to help with bad breath. What do you think? The principal's face turned bright red. "And a fever," said Dr. Ted. "You need a transplant." "We already have a school doctor," Principal Bigham pointed towards the door. "Well, we could do something about that foot odor," said Dr. Ted. "Go home," said Principal Bigham. I don't think he liked being told that he had stinky feet. What do you think? Dr. Ted was very, very sad. He packed up his bandage and he went home. And that night he took 2 cookies and he went straight to bed. He does not look happy. The next day during recess, Ted sat on a bench and sighed. He watched Frances Sylvester do gymnastics on the monkey bars. She was very talented. Everyone thought so, especially Mr. Johnson and Principal Bigham. Frances finished her routine with a triple twisting somersault. She landed on Mrs. Johnson. "Ouch!" cried Mrs. Johnson. "My ankle!" Principal Bigham ran this way and that. "Help!" he yelled. "Call an ambulance! Call the fire department! Call the library! Just call somebody!" But Dr. Ted was already there. Can he help? He wrapped Mrs. Johnson's ankle with his big bandage. He checked her vision and her tonsils. "Take 2 cookies," he said. "You will feel better in the morning." Just then the ambulance arrived, and the fire department, and the librarians. "It is a good thing you had Dr. Ted," they all said. "There's always room for another school doctor," said Mrs. Johnson. "My work here is done," said Dr. Ted. "Keep the bandage." Principal Bigham's face turned bright red, maybe this time because of embarrassment. "You really should do something about that fever," said Dr. Ted. That night, Dr. Ted closed his office and packed away his stethoscope and went to sleep knowing that he had done a good job. The next morning, Ted woke up, got out of bed, and sniffed the air. It smelled like burnt toast. "Oh, that's not good," thought Ted. "I need a fire truck." The end. So that's my story about Dr. Ted. I hope you liked it. We think about all the doctors and the nurses and the nurses' assistants and the people who work in healthcare who are helping everyone so much all throughout the world right now. And we're grateful to them. We're grateful for their commitment to health services and to showing care towards those who need help. So I want to thank you today, and I wonder if you're interested in the health field. If you are, it might be something for you to talk to your mom and dad about. All right, until next time and my next story, I wish you well. Boys and girls, we've got this.